Hello and welcome to another #Obsessed podcast, bringing your weekly dose of footballing nonsense to you. Everyone's relieved with the return of the Premier League football this week after the international break, and it has brought plenty of drama. Premier League is absolutely kicked off exactly where it was just before the international break. Our panel today is just as we had on our first podcast, Mones, Zak and Yus. Welcome, everybody.
Good evening.
Hello.
Thank you. So today we've got plenty of action to talk about. We're going to start off, as always, we always do, a weekend review of the Premier League. We're then going to be just reviewing some of the predictions that we made at the beginning of the season. A few interesting ones to talk about. We're then going to be finishing off with a quick review of the Champions League, which is resuming this week. Some very, very, very tasty first round games. And we're going to be finishing up with Manev's Team of the Week. So let's get straight into it. Our Premier League weekend review. You might as well start in chronological order. Lunchtime kickoff, Saturday afternoon, Liverpool-Everton. It was a big game at the top of the table. And, well, it was a draw. Yus, what's your thoughts on that result? Was that a tough game for Liverpool?
Yeah, we discussed it on the last podcast as well, how I thought it would be a tough game. I was happy with how we performed and how we bounced back after the Aston Villa result. I wasn't ever really in doubt that we would bounce back. However, what happened in the game, I think there is proof that it's a myth. When all the other fans talk about Liverpool they've always had VAR on their side. And it's just people, they love to jump. They love to jump on the bandwagon and say Liverpool. But when facts are shown, it shows clearly VAR has been against us. But never mind. This game, no one can argue is against us. The Pickford challenge was disgusting and genuinely, sorry Tift, but I don't want to talk about it anymore other than that. Van Dijk, I hope you have a speedy recovery. We'll miss you, but we will wait for you and we'll bring you back the title. And then after that as well, after we played superb throughout the whole game. I think Thiago as well, it was interesting because he got given man of the match. I think as well mentioned, I don't think he's been that amazing. I do think the first half, it was a very fast game for him. And I think he was just getting up to the speed. Second half, he was outstanding. He was really, really good. But first off, I think it was quite a big game for him to get into because I'm really happy as well because it's the first Merseyside derby at Goodison Park that has actually been brilliant in the last 3-4 years. And Everton have obviously they've been really good for their money. As I said, I don't want to talk about Pickford. It was disgraceful.
So I asked you a couple of weeks ago, after that heavy Aston Villa defeat, have you got any concerns going forward for the rest of the season? Now, having drawn against Everton, a team who you normally, let's be honest, dispatch quite easily every season, and obviously that big, crucial blow to Van Dijk. Are you still? You still have no concerns going forward?
We got completely robbed, obviously, because of the end of the game. And I think, finally, I don't think there was many people arguing the offside, how absurd it was. Like, fair play to other fans. Usually there'll be someone stupid going against it, but 100% everyone knows how much of a idiotic decision it was. So think of it, we could have won that game. We should have won that game. And
unfortunately, with VAR, with VAR these days, with VAR these days, you win some, you lose some. Isn't that right, Zak?
Oh, absolutely. Speaking as a Spurs fan, I don't think anyone else in this podcast could survive if they supported Tottenham Hotspur with the amount of VAR decisions that get given against us. But not only that, I do have a lot of sympathy. I couldn't survive being a Spurs fan. I do have a lot of sympathy for Yus Gassim there with that offside decision.
Thank you.
The thing with VAR is literally they're counting millimeters there. They can make up whatever they want. If they wanted to make it a goal, they could have made it a goal with the lines. If they wanted it to not be a goal, it's literally whatever David Coote fancied, and he probably had Pickford in his fancy football team. He didn't want the third goal to go in.
I think with the VAR argument, I think that's quite a big topic, which we can hopefully discuss today. But you just going back onto the first thing that you said, actually, about bouncing back. I know you could argue that you were robbed, but do you consider a 2-2 draw with Everton bouncing back?
Performance-wise.
Have the standards really dropped?
No. Because, as you said,
I watched the game, and I didn't think Liverpool were great. In fact, I'd probably say a 2-2 draw result was probably a fair result.
I think Liverpool have improved. I think the first game of the season, me and Yusuf did have a big debate about the Liverpool-Leeds game, where I thought Leeds were fantastic, and I didn't really see much from Liverpool in that game. But I think this was the other way around. I think Liverpool looked the better of the two teams, and I think Everton were just relying on one or two individual performances, specifically James Rodriguez, who I think was man of the match. He was outstanding from start to finish.
Absolutely.
But without him, Everton would have been completely. They would have been drowned. I think Liverpool were clearly the better side. Also, having said that, Everton did have the better chances to win the game.
I thought Everton looked dangerous every time they attacked.
They did, and I think it came down to as well. Okay, if it's a one-off game against Everton and we're putting it like that, then of course it's not something to be happy that they're bouncing back. But the form that they're in right now, and going into the game, I was still confident that we'd win, but there was actually talk going around that Everton could actually beat us. So in the context of everything, and we did get robbed, I'm just saying the performance was much, much better. And answering Atif's question as well about Van Dijk's injury, look, who wouldn't think it's a big blow to lose the best defender in the world? Who wouldn't think it's a big blow? So
on that sort of Pickford challenge, and this is, I'm not trying to insinuate anything. I generally want to know your opinion. What should have happened? Okay, Pickford should have been red carded. Should a penalty have been given, or should it have been considered an off, sort of an out of play incident? Because obviously,
generally, I'm as I said, even the mention of the guy's name, it's quite upsetting. If Mones wants to say anything about it, he can. But yeah.
Were you disappointed with the result on the weekend? How are you feeling at the moment?
Yeah, of course, disappointing. But, we move on. I think Van Dijk was obviously a big loss. That changed the game, so you can see DCL's goal, but Van Dijk probably would have had it covered. Gomez is slightly low in confidence, so that adjustment, I think, brought them back into the game. Obviously, we were robbed as well, so, we just have to adapt to it now, don't we? That's really it.
Yeah.
What do you think should have happened then with the Pickford? Should it have been a penalty and a red card, or just a red card?
Red card, obviously. There's no doubt about that.
Red card, yeah, exactly. If they say it's offside, fine, they can't call a penalty then, but they can still see the challenge.
I agree, and I think it should have been a red card, and I also don't think Henderson was offside or in the lead up to that goal. It was quite ridiculous.
Yeah. It wasn't. It wasn't a malicious challenge. But he's done that before.
Mm-hmm.
He's done similar incidents there. I mean, Richarlison's a different one, and he got what he deserved there. But yeah, it's just.
I will say though, it's quite. You read in the press now. I mean, there's been shocking VAR decisions against every team, and clearly, just on this panel, we've had Zak talk about how he feels Tottenham and we robbed, and I feel the same about United, particularly against Spurs a couple of weeks ago.
I don't think there's any one team in the league who could claim they've had the worst of it. Or I think you get decisions and you lose decisions. I think
what I will say though, the fact that now something significant has affected Liverpool, and generally with this sort of victim mentality, I expect it to be.
See, the thing is that,
I hope it does for the better of the game. And I guess we probably needed to wait for this moment for something to really.
I agree. Yeah.
To change.
But I don't see it as victim mentality at all. I see it as, and we have to look at it. He is, let's be honest, he won PFA Player of the Year as well. He is the best defender in the world right now, and because he's such a top player and him being out for that long, it causes debate. it does cause debate. For
In
example,
my
in the same
opinion-
game, if that happened to Origi, alhamdulillah, it didn't. What a top guy Origi is, but like there wouldn't have been.
No, I completely agree. I don't think anybody would be even mentioning Pickford's name in a bad way if it happened to a fringe player at Liverpool.
It's
The
not-
fact that it was Virgil van Dijk, your biggest player,
and
is
it
huge.
has to be talked
It's
about.
massive.
It has to be, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, but if that incident happened in the game between, I think, Fulham and Sheffield United, it wouldn't have been talked about.
Of course not.
in
Of
the
course
US.
not.
I can understand
Because-
that, but I mean,
No, this is Virgil van Dijk here. He is the colossus for Liverpool at the back. And if you ask me, he's a bigger blow than, say, Mane or Salah being out for the same amount of time. Because Liverpool got problems at the back now.
That's great.
Whether Liverpool fans like it or not, you have problems, Gomez hasn't been on the greatest form. Matip, can he stay fit for long?
Yeah, that's the only problem with him.
Yeah.
But we'll go to the transfer man, Asif Ali, at the end, because I heard Upamecano is coming in
Oh,
January. So what do you think?
I think the other thing that's overlooked is a lot of talk about Van Dijk. I think Alisson's an even bigger miss.
Yeah.
He's just
as-
absolutely.
Just as you saw in the Villa game, you had Van Dijk, but without Alisson,
Of course, yeah.
can't stop anything going in. And to be honest, he would have been out of sight against Everton if Adrian hadn't flapped. He flapped at least one goal. I can't remember the other goal.
Yeah.
I think it was the
Michael
first
Keane,
goal,
yeah.
wasn't it? Yeah.
Yep.
So
All
it's
right.
nice news. It's nice news, kind of seeing that his recovery is coming soon.
And
He'll be back in
alhamdulillah,
action, so-
Thiago's okay. Exactly. And just on that as well, I know because of obviously Mane was offside. And I know we do this, I agree. Liverpool fans, as soon as Thiago's come in, every time he touches the ball, we go mad. But that pass to Mane at the end,
He had a fine pass, for that build-up of that would-be Henderson goal. Yeah, that was lovely. That is
just beautiful.
trademark Thiago. We've talked a lot about Liverpool. You have to give credit to Everton from coming back from behind twice. I mean,
Can we just take a moment to appreciate Dominic Calvert-Lewin? What
absolutely,
an outstanding player he's become.
he really is a top striker, and Everton are no joke. Let's let that be known that a team, they usually crumble against Liverpool. Mentally, they can't come up against you. So for them to get a draw,
I think
they had a lot of.
They've got all the makings of what we saw in the Leicester season, where everything seems to be going right for them. But the only thing that I put a question mark over is Jordan Pickford.
Absolutely,
in goal.
at the back
Sure.
and in goalie, they have a bit of problems. Moving on then, Chelsea Southampton 3-3.
Brilliant.
Frank Lampard, he can't seem to find the right balance at the moment.
Good.
It seems he's chopping and changing his team every week.
What I find,
What's it?
I mean, about on the Chelsea. Sorry to interrupt here.
Yeah,
But
no, carry on. Yeah,
What don't understand. Well, I do understand because I know why. It's just Frank Lampard is a media darling. If that had been any other manager in the Premier League, he'd be under intense scrutiny and criticism. I know he spent a lot of money. It takes a bit of time to gel the team.
Yeah.
But the performances, I mean, it just looks like you're setting up his players and asking them to attack with absolutely no coordination or compactness in defence. They don't look like they don't have a structure to how the team is set up. It's almost like being a PE teacher in school and setting up a team and saying, "Go out and have fun, lads." And yeah, like I said, if it'd been any other manager, I'm sure he would be under intense pressure. And Roman Abramovich, based on his history, he surely would have been close to firing the bullet on if he wasn't such a club legend.
Well, if the results carry on like this, Chelsea, they don't give their managers long, that's for sure.
Do you think
The
that
difference with him, though, I think there'll be a huge difference with Lampard, man. Because he's that club legend and everything, they will. Honestly, they'll give him time, but I'm happy. I don't mind.
Yeah, I mean, they got Werner and their attackers firing again, but defensively, they're just still atrocious.
I know you've been a big fan of Havertz, and I was as well, but maybe I didn't see him play too much. What do you think of his performances?
You know what? The comments he came out with as well, saying that there's not a bad play in the Prem. When he said that, and he was lining up, he was lining up against Dale Stephens in his first game of the season. I don't know what's going on there. I don't know what he's thinking, but I think it's more about physicality. Fine, I think is a big thing. Timo, on the other hand, That's why I kept him in my fantasy. He's brilliant, man. Honestly, I thought even from the first game, I thought he looked really, really good.
He does look good. I think with Havertz, he seems a little bit. He looks a little bit lost on the pitch, and I'm not sure whether he needs to be. I feel like Lampard has just thrown him into the team, and I know obviously he's a big money signing and stuff, but he's still a young player, and I feel like maybe he should have been easing him slightly, rather than throwing him into play every single match. And I think what might be help maybe with Ziyech being back fit and Pulisic, he might come out with a team and sort of eased in the way he probably should have been at the start. And I can imagine the pressure that Lampard is under.
Yeah. Mason Mount, as he was for England, seems undroppable for Chelsea as well. Starting every game. What is the obsession of Gareth Southgate, Frank Lampard with this boy? I mean, he's young, he's English, I suppose. I suppose that's all that matters in this league, isn't it?
I think Frank will find it very difficult to drop Mason Mount because Mason Mount came and played with him at Derby County, had, by all accounts, a very good season there. They've got that relationship. They understand each other very well. Probably best mates in the changing room. And I think he probably sees a little bit of himself, whether under a false pretense, probably sees a bit of himself in Mason Mount. And I think it's very hard for him to drop him.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt Frank does have his favourites. I mean, falling out with N'Golo, I mean, that's just terrible, to be honest. Moving on, Man City, there was plenty of question marks raised over their start to the season, but they had a solid 1-0 win against Arsenal. Does that put him back into contention, do we think?
You know what, like it was because when you play against Manchester City, most teams anyway, you think, you're going to get a goal. At least you'll get something. It was a very controlled performance for them. Yeah. And without Kevin De Bruyne as well, it was really impressive. Thought Foden was good until he came off.
Yeah.
And I don't know, this whole, genuinely, with this season, and why as well, sorry to bring it back to Liverpool, but why, I will come on to it with the predictions, why I'm still confident we'll win the league. It's just there's so much unpredictability. Like with all the other teams, no team has shown anything yet where I've seen, wow, they're going to be the team to beat, you know? So,
yeah, but a lot of other teams can say the same thing as well, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, for sure, 100%. I think every team has been like that. Every team in the league has no one shown. And that's why Man City, are they back in contention?
I think the thing with Man City, you mentioned unpredictability. I think they're very predictable. They'll go on a run of 5 or 6 games where they look untouchable, fantastic football, smashing teams 4-5-0, and then they'll lose to West Brom. And it's not even a shock result. It happened last season. They lost, I think, 9 games last season, which is far too much for a title challenging team. And I think they'll probably lose even more games this season. They've already dropped points against Leeds, against Leicester City. And I think they may well go on a run again now, but it won't be too long until they drop some stupid points.
Well, I think the way this season has started, I don't think many people are going to have much luck in predicting the outcomes of games and teams' form, because at the moment it's like we said before, it's every weekend the pendulum just swings one way and the other.
True.
I think it's far too early to make any sort of assessment on any team having some sort of foothold in this league.
It's true.
Manchester United had a 4-1 win against Newcastle.
Well, talk about unpredictability there.
Absolutely.
Who would have put money on that? Bloody hell.
What was your thoughts on that performance right up until the substitutions pretty much changed the game? What were you thinking?
I actually thought we played really well. We conceded an early goal, which was a bit of a free goal. I mean, I can't quite decide whether I feel that De Gea should have maybe kept it out, because it was. I know he was sort of ready to go the other way, and he was sort of caught off balance, but he just didn't seem to react.
He seems to be struggling to pass the game incident-free at the moment, isn't he? He really is struggling at the moment.
Because I feel like De Gea is best would have reacted and saved that. But I think in general, in terms of the performance, I think that's probably been our best performance since the start of the season. We seem to have a lot of control of the ball. We were attacking with pace. And yeah, I don't think the result was ever in doubt. I thought Donny van der Beek had a really good impact when he came on, and it becomes questionable why he isn't playing anymore.
Why didn't he start?
I think for some reason, Solskjaer at the moment is playing him as number 10. I know that's his preferred position, but I think he's equally capable of playing as one of the two in the pivot. So, if for example, obviously Pogba was dropped on the weekend, and I don't see why Donny didn't play as one of the two behind Fernandes. But I think the key player for us on the weekend was Mata. I think he's deserved a start. And the thing for him over the last 1 or 2 years, he's been basically the player that we play in the Europa League and the Carabao Cup. And he's having to play with players like Dan James or Jesse Lingard. So but he's even in those games, he's clearly shone above the rest, especially over the last, before the lockdown. Since the season restarted. And I thought he played really well. Man of the match for me by clear distance. And he links up well with Bruno Fernandes because they're both on the same level in terms of their football intelligence. And United have got too many players who lack football intelligence. They've got talent, but they lack intelligence. Mata has intelligence, Bruno has intelligence, and so does Donny van der Beek. So I think the three of them is a very exciting prospect.
Yeah.
And I think it's only so long that, especially Donny van der Beek can be kept out of the team because he looks ready to play.
I know Mata had a great performance, but is he really someone that you think you can start he's part of your best 11 now?
I don't think he'll be playing every week, but he needs to be playing a lot more than he is. I think in games against teams such as Newcastle, the teams which are going to sit back and defend, we lack creativity because at the moment, I mean, the system that Ollie's been playing, he's playing Pogba as one of the two, and quite often Matic is bombing forward more than Pogba. Yeah. So Pogba's not having an impact further up the pitch. So we're relying on Bruno to basically be the creator. And if he can't do it, I mean, he can't be expected to create every single game. So we need another player there. I mean, the other option is having someone like Donny van der Beek or giving Pogba a bit more freedom because it seems to be clear that he's being told to sit. Because I mean, I've been quite critical of Pogba, but when he came on the other day, I thought he played well. He wasn't great, but he's done better than he has done recently. And I think the big difference was when he came on is that he had the freedom to attack and he wasn't just sort of sitting in front of the defence. Because we needed a goal, he was allowed to sort of get forward and link up with some of the forward players. And he's much better when he's doing that. He still lost the ball carelessly once or twice and almost cost us a goal, but that's to be expected with the gateway he plays, I guess. But I think at the moment we've got too many players who I think he's got a selection dilemma with how he fits all these players in. Clearly he can't, but he needs to get the right rotation and give the players the right amount of minutes, I suppose.
What would be your ideal lineup now going forwards for the next few games? Who do you think should be starting?
I think one of Fred or McTominay. I mean, I'm not a big fan of McTominay. I prefer Fred, but the thing with Fred, I was reading a stat about him yesterday, or maybe earlier on today. He had a 91% pass completion rate, which is, I mean, that's great statistics, and he does, do penetrating passes. But the other 9% where he's given the ball away, it's not just giving the ball away. It's suicide balls where he'll do a pass across the line of defence, or he'll give the ball away in a dangerous position, which almost results in a goal. And I think that's the bit that he needs to iron out the game. Is statistically, you can say 91% is great, but like I said, that 9% is they're very dangerous balls that he loses. And if he can just iron that out, I think he's great, because I think we need energy in the middle. Matic is great at reading the game, but when he's playing, there is a lack of energy in our midfield, and I think that was the big difference against Newcastle. But the ideal 11, I think, the back four, you can pick who you want there. I mean, they're not great. I thought Van Bissaka had his best performance in a long time. Midfield, like I said, one of Fred and McTominay. Personally, I would go with Donny van der Beek and Bruno. And then Rashford on the left, Martial up top, with Cavani coming in, I guess.
Did Rashford look a bit more comfortable to you playing up top on the weekend?
He did, didn't it?
I think he played really well, but he does that when he has the odd game up front. The problem with Rashford when he's playing through the middle is that when he's been given a run of games there, he's very up and down. I think what happens is he's really motivated for that one game that he gets to play up top. But in the next game, he could just be completely anonymous.
Yeah.
I still prefer him on the left. But I think he needs to raise his game. But I think his performances of late have been better. But yeah, and then on the right between Greenwood and Mata, I suppose between the two of them, because Greenwood's been playing a lot of football, and I've heard that he's been a bit of a naughty boy actually, which is why he's not in the squad.
Oh, what's he been doing?
Oh dear.
So
David
what I've
Moyes'
heard
daughter?
through,
Or what?
no. What I'm going to Solskjaer's, no, he hasn't. So apparently, and I mean, I've heard this from quite strong sources. Last week he was basically he had a bit of a party with Brandon Williams.
Keep it cleaner.
Brandon
I know. So the two of them were out drinking. I'm not sure of the exact details. So they were both dropped for the game against. Well, clearly not.
Brenton. Ribena, sugar-free.
So they were both dropped for the game against Newcastle, and it was interesting because he was back in full training. There's loads of images of him training at Greenwood, but he hasn't travelled to Paris.
He didn't travel to Paris?
He didn't travel to Paris. Brandon Williams has travelled, and when they asked Ole Gunnar Solskjaer about it today, he was very defensive. And when they asked him about Greenwood's injury, he said his response was, "Well, I can't give you medical information, can I?" When he doesn't ever hide what injury. So there's clearly something going on.
Yeah.
And I think Greenwood really needs to get his act together because he's actually, I mean, obviously he's a super talented boy, but
he'll be in Iceland next week as well, won't it?
let's hope not.
Philip,
nevertheless,
just a word on Newcastle. Sorry, I'm just so Saint Maximin. Wow. I know he was in Manip's team of the week for the first week as well. I would put him in the team of the week every week. Honestly, what a player! Genuinely, when he gets the ball, as Manip said last week as well, he's someone that makes you sit up. And if it makes Manip sit up, it makes me sit up. I'm gonna say because Saint, he's a player. I love him on the ball.
It takes a lot.
I'm disappointed with Newcastle because they're Callum Wilson was a nice signing. Ryan Fraser was as well. It just seems like same old Newcastle, that performance.
I think that's it. They're comfortable in that same old Newcastle, and they're just going to be hovering just above the relegation zone, back in their normal position.
Yeah, they've had a great transfer window. It's just for Newcastle, where they are, but just stagnant, isn't it? Steve Bruce.
Yeah. Well, they were expecting Mbappe and
Gareth Bale
to come sign for them. So
unfortunately, the Saudi investment didn't quite come to fruition. Unfortunately, so nevertheless, that was a good result for United, bouncing back from the humiliation in their previous game, and obviously the team who dealt that humiliation, Tottenham.
No more games. No, there was no more games.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. Before we even get on to the final result. What an absolutely sensational start, Zach. What were you thinking after you've seen those goals fly in? 10 minutes into the game.
I just wish that Tottenham would announce themselves as to whether we're going to have a good season or a bad season, and I can just decide whether to watch the game.
Football isn't that simple, I'm afraid, Zach, and you know that.
I think every single game we've played this season, bar the United game, we've had one half where we've either done okay or amazing, and we've had one half where we've been shocking. If you look at the Everton game, we were all right in the first half, terrible second half. Newcastle United were very good first half, terrible second half. Same with Chelsea in the League Cup. Same with every game we played this season, and the same again yesterday. I don't know why Jose can't seem to put the 245 minutes together. But it's something we've got to work on. I don't know if we'll ever get to that stage.
Does Jose take majority of the blame for some of the decisions and substitutions he made, or did the players just really have that much of a drop-off in the second half?
I think the blame has to lie with Jose. I think the fact that we've not kept a clean sheet yet this season, you'd think that, watching the Amazon documentary, that was the one thing that Jose was mentioning every single day. Even if we've beaten a team 4-1, he'd still be upset that we've not kept the clean sheet. So I would have expected that to have been the number one priority at half-time.
Yeah.
Listen, boys, we're not conceding a goal.
He's such a defensive manager as well, so it is quite surprising.
Absolutely. So I would have thought, so then for him to just throw caution to the wind.
Were you surprised when he took on Ndombele off? He was having another pretty good game.
Of course. I think the Gareth Bale substitution, that's what everybody wanted to see.
Yeah.
And it would have been fine.
I know you did, Zach. I know you did.
It would have been fine if it was coupled with Ben Davis coming on, Doherty, some defensive substitutions, and leaving the players on the pitch like Ndombele who can keep the ball for us. But to bring on Harry Winks, to bring on, I don't know, Lucas Moura, players who give the ball away with their first touch and just hand the initiative back to West Ham and pile pressure on us with then an unfit Gareth Bale as our outlet instead of Heung-min Son.
Harry Winks is pants, isn't it? He is absolute rubbish.
He is amazing at our English homegrown quota up. And that is it. But
So,
yeah, I mean,
I
obviously, the first half, Yusuf mentioned earlier that, you know, from a Liverpool point of view, they haven't seen anybody that has announced themselves as the team to beat. And I think the frustrating thing is if we had kept it at 3-0, I think that would have been a performance that Tottenham would have announced themselves as the team to beat in the Premier League. But, you know, same old Spurs,
I'm sorry to say again, it's Moines.
Two Spurs there. Can I just say, though, I mean, I watched the game until the last 15 minutes where I missed the best of the action.
You missed the best part, mate.
I went to sleep.
I thought,
honestly,
I thought 3-0 flattered Spurs. But when I say flattered, maybe that's the right term to use, but they were very clinical. But I thought West Ham played well. I thought they looked quite dangerous throughout. I think they were unlucky not to score on a couple of occasions. I think the only reason, I mean, the same can be said with a lot of title-winning teams, I guess. The only reason they were winning was because of the sheer class of Harry Kane and Heung-min Son. But the overall performance, I think, like I said, 3-0 flattered them up to that point. And I think West Ham, in the end, deserved the draw. And that's not just over the last 10 minutes. I think, you know, even at half-time, if they were level, I mean, it would have been justified, maybe.
I get what you mean, but I think that's the style that Jose is trying to implement, that we sit back and we just hit with these lightning strikes. And as I said yesterday, I think every time we go into the opposition half, we look as if we're going to score. And usually that means we only get into the opposition half 3-4 times a game, and those 3 or 4 times end up in a goal.
I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is trying to mirror the same thing at Manchester United.
Yeah, but I don't think West Ham in the second half, definitely they were the dominant team, and I think that was our fault for allowing that to happen. But they didn't look particularly special. They didn't look like they deserved. From 3-0, we were 3-0 up at 81 minutes. I mean, it is unforgivable.
It's true, yeah. And after they scored the second, Ryan Snodgrass came on, and I thought, definitely Spurs got 3 points. Funny
Absolutely
enough,
not.
he won the free kick, mate. So.
Yeah, Snoddy, good old Snoddy.
Snodgrass.
I think there's a bit of work to be done with Spurs, just ironing out those stupid Spursy moments, which I thought with Jose they would have gone. Under Poch, you could see a result like this happening, but I thought with Jose, if there's one manager in the world who can focus on the mentality and get rid of this Spursiness, it would be Jose. But
Moise.
I mean, Lanzini has not scored a goal for I think it was 500 and something days, and he hit it so well. Like, if you look at the goal,
we all seen the tweet, haven't you? When you're bringing on Gareth Bale and they're bringing on Manuel Lanzini, what a fool will that guy look?
Do you think it comes down to a lack of quality in defence?
I think that's a key thing. If you look at Tottenham's starting 11, we've got quality everywhere except for in the centre back area. We have
Vincent's been
Davinson Sanchez, who the whole purpose of him was he was going to come to Tottenham. He's from Ajax. He's going to learn from what was at the time at their peak Toby and Jan, who were the best 2 centre backs in the Premier League at the time. He was going to learn from them and grow and develop and follow in their footsteps. They've now reached the end of their shelf life, and clearly Davinson Sanchez has been asleep for the past 3 years. He's not learned a single from them. He's actually probably got worse, to be honest.
Have we discussed the Joe Roden signings? I think I've heard good things about him.
I've never seen him play.
I don't know who he is. I don't care. I don't know.
Second coming of Maldini, because that's I think Eric Dyer, if he was playing, we would have just lost the game in a different way. He's actually okay at defending, but he just finds a way every game to do something, whether it's VAR, whether it's give away a penalty. He does something stupid every game. And then Toby is a quality defender, but he's finished. His legs are finished.
I think you should put a 50 million bid for Shane Duffy in January and
wonderful. You'll have him. As much as it is like a Spursy thing to choke a 3-0 lead, Mourinho these days, he's not as ruthless as he was. He can't. His style of management these days, he can't see out 1-0s, 2-0s. His team will go 1-0 or 2-0 up, and they'll just sit back and invite pressure. It was the same as Manchester United. The amount of games that we just failed to close out, and it was exactly the same when I was watching. I'm not going to lie, as soon as West Ham got 1 and then 2, I feared the worst for Spurs. And that stunning goal, wow, watching that live was something else, I'll tell you that.
Is that an early goal of the season?
Absolutely. You are right, Tift. I think watching Tottenham, it was the same in the United game. Until we go 4-0 up, as a Tottenham fan, I do not feel comfortable.
Yeah.
Simply until there's the fourth goal, even at 3-0, even at the 81st minute, until the final whistle goes, I'm not happy.
Yeah.
And I think it's because Jose still thinks he's got John Terry and Carvalho at the back, and he plays as if he's got defenders of that quality.
Yeah, I do feel that it is a slight Mourinho issue, to be honest. Under his style of management, his team can't seem to close out games where they're absolutely cruising after the first half an hour. And Spurs, attacking-wise, you've been great this season. Defensively, like you've said, Zach, there's been numerous concerns. Like in pretty much every game, apart from the United game, you've looked incredibly dodgy at the back, and that's something for Jose to work on going forward, it seems. Aston Villa kept up their 100% record with a stoppage time winner, Ross Barkley. They're continuing on this fine form. Munib, what Aston Villa have backed up that sensational result a couple of weeks ago with another good result away from home, haven't they?
Yeah, they're serious, aren't they? So I think with them, it's defensively, it's really impressive. They're probably one of the strongest in terms of all so far out of all the teams in the Premier League in terms of solidity. And I think they keep that up as well as the attacking talent that they're showing. Then interesting to see. There could be another Sheffield United though.
That's true.
That's the other question. So it just depends on how the next few games. Not sure what their fixture list looks like, but once it starts to get really heavy around Christmas, I think that'll be a big test.
They've got us next game. We need mates, so they're gonna drop off. Oh no, actually Sheffield United. Sorry, we've got us.
Yeah, Sheffield United.
Do you think they're going to be the new Sheffield United or the new Leicester City?
We'll see.
Honestly, with a player like Jack Grealish,
anything is possible.
Anything. They could be the new Brazil 1970.
Ross Barkley coming in from the
fine start. And obviously today's fixtures, we had the first 0-0 of the season, West Brom Burnley. Boys, did anyone cough up 14.95 for that cracker?
Oh, listen, nope. I coughed up total score.
Well, I've recently invested in a new IPTV.
I'll tell you what, why have I mentioned it? What do we think about this pay-per-view charge for the...
It's a disgrace.
Yeah?
I mean...
That's it, mate.
I don't even own a TV, which tells you everything you need to know about how I consume my Premier League football.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I think in a time where the nation is struggling and there's not many pennies to go around, the greed of the Premier League and Sky Sports.
I don't think a lot of people are blaming Sky and BT. I don't think they're the ones to blame here. It's the Premier League and all the football clubs, apart from Leicester City, are to blame.
Yeah, I think it's opportunistic.
Sky and BT, just to confirm, they're not making any money from these pay-per-view matches. Obviously, their setup costs will be.
Really?
covered. Of course,
Wow.
that majority of the money for those games are going to the Premier League and the clubs.
Apparently, 100% of the profits after the costs are going to the clubs. So whichever team is.
Yeah, I mean, why would Sky and BT want to charge $14.95 for game?
Yeah.
I mean, they've already got,
I think if it was like $6.99 or $7.99, I think that would have been a lot more reasonable. But $14.95 is
incredibly extortionate.
And the only thing that's going to do is cause more people like myself to seek out illegal streams.
No, Asif is the plug.
It's to work off.
Just to confirm, we are fully legit on this podcast. We don't no illegal activity going on here.
None of that at all. I paid my £15 for West Brom Burnley tonight, and I enjoyed it.
I think at the beginning of the season, if you said pick two teams who would draw 0-0, have the first 0-0 of this season, I think we would have all nailed it.
That's it, and that is that brings to an end another fine weekend. Wolves grabbed a nice win against informed Leeds United.
Yeah, that was it was a good game, to be fair. I was watching that, and fast football. Honestly, the speed of play. Football. But I was very impressed with Wolves because Leeds, obviously, they bring that. But it was interesting. He played Moutinho instead of Neves as well. And we've discussed this before, I think, where we say Neves is not very good in tight spaces. He's very good at a long pass, the Hollywood ball, whatever, but in tight little spaces, he's not amazing. And
Nuno does seem to like changing his team quite often, doesn't he? I notice he doesn't have a stick.
Adama didn't start either.
He doesn't stick with Adama. He brings in Neto some games. Obviously, Podence is a starter now. He chops and changes in midfield quite a bit.
I think he's a very good manager, to be fair.
Yeah.
He is very good.
He's a good manager. They got some good players at Wolves anyway, so... looks like they'll be up and around the top half of the table again this season.
Sure.
Yeah, that brings an end to weekend Premier League review. Moving on, obviously, before the season started, we all made some Premier League predictions. Now we're just going to have a quick review of them. Obviously, some of them, we might be regretting some of the predictions that we made, but nevertheless, let's begin. Has anyone got their predictions to hand in front of them?
Indeed, I do.
Absolutely. Let's start off with you, Zach Judy.
Right, where do you want to start?
If you just want to go to the top, and obviously, if anyone's got any qualms, concerns, doubts, eyebrow raises, just interrupt and butt in.
I mean, this is obviously with the caveat that this was done before a ball was kicked.
Right, is that a slight dig at somebody?
We really need an explanation, please, Zach.
So I've gone with title winners, none other than Glory Manchester United Football Club. For the rest of the top four, I've gone with Chelsea, Liverpool, Man City. Relegated teams, I've gone for Aston Villa, West Brom, and Fulham. Top scorer, Harry Kane. Player of the season, Bruno Fernandes. Best new signing, Eberici Eze.
Who?
Flopped.
Eze from Crystal Palace.
Easy, whatever his name is.
Eze, man.
Flop team, Everton. Dark horse is Southampton, and first manager sacked, none other than David Moyes. Fancy that.
Champions League winners?
Champions League winners have gone for Bayern Munich.
Bayern Munich.
I mean, I can defend some of those predictions, but a lot
of them are defend your title winners, please?
I think so. I've been thinking for the past week, how am I going to defend this?
I bet you have, mate.
I've got two reasons.
I'm happy to defend it.
I bet you are.
The first one, which is what tipped me, to be honest, to pick them to be title winners, was they're going to get a penalty every single game.
Absolutely.
Which is a big advantage.
Can we just fit in that Bruno Fernandes missed his first penalty for Manchester United on the weekend?
Water is not wet.
No, it certainly isn't.
And the second reason is I think if Ole does get sacked, they might bring in a manager who can actually take the wheel properly. Apart from that, I do not have any other reasons in this universe to justify Manchester United winning the title.
About United as well and Ole, Zach was talking about City are anything but unpredictable. They're very predictable. United right now, with the fixtures that they have coming, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is going to get result after result after result. Rio Ferdinand's going to get the paper. He's going to sign it. Ole's at the wheel. It's going to be... It happens every time. I don't know how it is with Ole.
We got PSG as well.
You're going to batter him. No problem. Easy. Cavani hat-trick.
Yeah, he does look like he's going to get
Have you seen our defenders that we have available tomorrow?
Phil Jones.
Brandon Williams.
The backs we have available are Axel Twanzebe and Lindelof.
Oh, what's Lindelof at? Swedish.
What is he? He's Swedish. Shall I go on to my predictions? Given that
let's go on to us as if no one's got any more qualms as that.
Well, I do, but never mind.
So for title winners, I put Manchester United, which I still stand by.
No surprise there,
because I believe that this season, the title's there for anyone to win, and I think any team that can produce a consistent run of around 10 or 11 wins in a row has a real chance of winning. And I think Manchester United are capable of doing that. I mean, I made these predictions before the signings. I think we've made some, although you could argue about the manner in which we dealt with that transfer window. I think Cavani is going to prove to be an outstanding signing. Donny van de Beek is looking good. It's just about Ole being able to get these players playing in the right system and giving them all the right amount of minutes. So I think we've got a fantastic chance to win the league. Top four, so Manchester United have gone for Man City in second place, Liverpool in third, but I mean, between Liverpool and Spurs, I've got third and fourth. If one team from that list is going to drop out of the top four, I'd say Liverpool. I think United, City, and Spurs will do enough to get to the top four. I think the two Manchester clubs will be the top two. Relegated teams: West Brom, Fulham, and Crystal Palace. Saying that, Crystal Palace haven't been too bad so far this season. They've got a lot of pace, power, penetration up top. Top goal scorer, Martial. Okay, now
not going well so far.
I chose Martial because he ended the season in fantastic form.
-1 shot on target.
But he's had a poor start to the season. There's a couple of players, 3 match suspension. So I can't see that one coming through. Player of the season, I went for Martial.
Oh, outstanding.
Best new signing, I've gone for Hakim Ziyech. I mean, given that the transfer window wasn't over at that point, I would actually go for Edinson Cavani now. But I'll stick with Ziyech. Flop team, Everton.
Oh dear.
I'm having a fantastic one here. Dark horse is Leeds. First manager sacked Mourinho. Which and Champions League
could still be on.
Champions League winners.
No chance.
Manchester United's opponents tomorrow: Paris Saint-Germain.
Outstanding. Manip, do you want to go through your predictions next?
Yeah, I think we'll bring a bit of sense.
Absolutely. Wow. The nonsense.
Wow. That is absolutely...
That's uncalled for.
Go on, Manip.
So we'll go for title winners at Liverpool.
Of course.
Top 4 United.
Can I say, do you still believe Liverpool win the league now without Van Dijk?
Depends what happens, I think, over the course of up until January. I think Alisson coming back soon. Hopefully, I think that is very important. I think it's supposed to be longer than initially thought. So
you're gonna love when he's player of the season, lads.
So, yeah,
we'll wait. I haven't seen it.
We'll wait for that. I think we'll. I think Alisson coming back. That's very important. I think just to set the tone early in the season and continue. So hopefully, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Nothing happens there. So we had title winners Liverpool, top 4 as in addition to United, City, Chelsea.
United second, Munib. That is
Wow.
that's an eyebrow raiser for a Liverpool fan.
Really?
Yeah,
Yes.
it's more shocking than my predictions.
No, to be honest, that wasn't in order. That wasn't in order. That wasn't in order. That wasn't part of our initial. That was just top 4.
So
So if
Oh,
I
come
had
on.
no, it wasn't.
No,
What is
that's
your
in
order?
isn't it?
That's disappointing. What's the order, Munib?
So for
United
me,
fit
it would
14.
have been City, Chelsea, and then United.
All right, fair enough. Back down to reality.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then moving on, relegated teams: Villa, West Brom, Fulham. So obviously
Villa. What's the problem
Why
with
is it
Villa?
with you
Why?
guys?
Where?
I think the investment. So I think the investment changed the situation for them. Obviously the season that they had, they kind of scraped out of it. Yeah, they scraped out of relegation last season.
Yeah.
But obviously, I think the investment has made a big impact.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's going to help them going forward. Top goal scorer, Aubameyang.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens with that. Player of the season, Van Dijk. So that's out.
Oh dear.
Thank you.
Oh dear. Virgil van Dijk.
He's been my player of the season, that's for sure.
Oh,
You would have
That
been.
is
But
unbelievable.
that's most unfortunate.
I know.
It
So
is.
that's
I
out.
mean, I'm devastated. For him.
Yeah.
Yes. But that's life.
Yeah.
Then had best new signing Timo Werner.
Mhm.
Flop team Sheffield United seems to be true.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, dark horses Leeds again. That
Mhm.
seems to be true. First manager sacked. I'm going for Moise.
I think we've all got that one wrong at the moment, haven't we? David Moyes. He's
holding on.
yeah.
COVID is quite flying.
Yeah. And just Champions League winners at Bayern.
Okay.
Lovely. Yus, what have you got for us?
So title winners, Scousers, Liverpool title winners for me. Top 4 were Liverpool, City. I'm not happy with this one, but United.
You're not happy.
I thought that, to be honest, they might get top 4, but Liverpool, Man City, United, then Arsenal. Obviously a hotly contested pick, innit?
So
relegated teams.
Sorry, can you just clarify when exactly you made that prediction?
After they won like 2-0 to Fulham, who were finishing last with no points, so I don't think it was that big. But anyway, so there's Liverpool, Man City, United, Arsenal. Relegated teams, I had Brighton, West Brom, and Fulham. My top goal scorer was none other than Mohamed Salah. Player of the season. Now, this one, to be honest, because I think Arsenal, I got Aubameyang, and I think Arsenal will just get into the top 4. And I think for them to just get into the top 4, he's going to have to perform. He will have to perform. So I went for him because, to be honest, even in the Community Shield, he was brilliant. In FA Cup, he finished the season very, very well. So yeah, I put Aubameyang.
He's signed his contract now, and he's not scored a goal since the contract
Literally,
He scored 1 goal. That's it. That's all he's done.
It's unbelievable, man. Best new signing, I had Kai Havertz. I would, now the season's finished, now the transfer window's finished, probably Thiago. Flop team, I've gone for Leicester. Dark horses, Leeds. First manager sacked, I've gone for Graham Potter. Brighton, and the Champions League winners are Liverpool.
Fantastic stuff.
So you think Liverpool are going to do the Premier League and Champions League double?
I do, yeah.
I'll quickly go through my predictions as well, and then we'll swiftly move on. So I went as Man City title winners. I still think that is entirely possible. It's been a wide open start to the season. It's up for anyone. Anyone's up for grabs. I think Man City will be there or thereabouts towards the end of the season. Top 4, I went for Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea, and I thought Man United. I just feel like you had a fantastic end to last season, but I just feel the inconsistencies are going to continue, to be honest. I can't see them going away. That's why I put them in 4th place. Relegated teams, Brighton, West Brom, Fulham. Sounds just about right. Top goal scorer, I went for Mo Salah. He made another fine start to the season. Player of the season, I went for De Bruyne. Yeah, he's struggled a bit, but when he's on it, he is on it. Best signing, Timo Werner. Flop team, I went for Wolves. I thought they might struggle a bit this year,
Yeah.
but they still seem quite solid. Dark horses, Leeds United. Under Bielsa, they're a top team and they bring a completely different aspect of football to the Premiership. First manager sacked, I went for David Moyes. And Champions League winners, I went for Juventus because, I don't know, just Ronaldo's got that aura about him of firing a team up to glory when he needs it. So I just thought I'll go for them this year. So that's it for the predictions, lads. So obviously we will see how things progress over the course of the season, and then in a few months' time we might review these predictions again and see where we are.
Definitely.
But yeah, that's it for the predictions, and that's it. Tomorrow is the resumption of the Champions League. It's going to be a frantic few months ahead of us. Plenty of games, plenty of European midweek action. What have we got to look forward to, guys?
Well, the first game tomorrow is United PSG, which I think is going to be a cracker.
Yeah.
PSG have got a number of players out, including Verratti and Paredes, which are going to be big losses for them. Maguire's out for United, which is a huge loss.
Huge positive for United.
They're only fit centre halves now. Is that Victor Lindelof, who I consider to be the worst defender in Manchester United's history. I think they'll play three at the back tomorrow. I think Lindelof will start in a back three with Luke Shaw and anyone between Tuanzebe, McTominay, maybe even Matic in the back three. I think Telles will start left wing back, Wan-Bissaka, and then take your pick from the rest. Tough game for United. I think it can go one or two ways. I think United could win, but I can also. It wouldn't surprise me to see them take a heavy defeat. I think it'd be a really good match. I think United got good memories of playing in Paris from a couple of seasons ago, so hopefully that'll give them the just positivity going into the game, really. And yeah, I mean, PSG are a flaky team, but with Neymar, and I think Neymar is just, for me, is probably the best in the world. I rate him that highly. I think he's just absolutely outstanding, and I think his demeanour which is what causes people to maybe not rate him as highly as how good he is. Then obviously they got Mbappe, and he needs no introduction.
Right.
I think we've got a cracking game on our hands. What about the other games? What other games are there, Yus? I haven't.
So one game that Atif's predicted winners are playing Dinamo Kiev, so Juve, I think they'll win that. Chelsea got Sevilla at Stamford Bridge. Never know with Chelsea, to be honest, and Sevilla, amazing Europa League. I don't know. We'll see what they're like in Champions League. But one game, Barca have got an easy game against that Ferran. I can't say their name. But one game that honestly it puts a smile on my face seeing them back in the Champions League is Lazio. They're playing against Borussia Dortmund tomorrow, and I don't know, man. I think a team like Lazio deserve to be in the Champions League, and I love it when teams from years ago and they were always there before get back in the Champions League eventually. You know,
Ajax against Liverpool would be a tasty game.
That's Wednesday, yeah. So on to Wednesday, Ajax Liverpool, which I can't wait. Honestly, I can't wait because I love it when a team we play against tries to play football as well. But you know what? The crazy thing as well is that we haven't ruled out Thiago yet, which is a bit. I thought he would definitely be ruled out, but we haven't ruled him out yet. And
he's just always injured, isn't he?
Well, if you didn't see, he got really badly kicked on the weekend.
That is a good point actually from Asif. I think I saw a statistic the other day that he's never played more than 26 league games in a season in his career. Not
29, but
generally it's less than 20 for the majority of his career, and it's usually because of injury, not because of form or anything like that. So that is something to keep in mind for the rest of the season.
Thank you. I had no worries about Thiago anyway. Thank you.
I think he's a great player.
But I think
another good game is Munich and Madrid as well.
I saw that, Munib. Yes. Talk about that, man.
Wednesday. No, it just looks fantastic. I think that's probably the biggest kind of heavyweight game, I would say.
I would say United PSG personally.
Of course, they're still there. But, in terms of...
There's clearly a few
no, they're
big
not,
things.
mate.
Can I just say, I think
Champions League experience here. Well, that's coming into play when we talk about Munich and Madrid. That's what's coming in.
Exactly.
Talking about
Champions League
Champions League,
experience.
Zach, who Spurs got this year?
We've
Oh,
got,
dear.
I don't even know, to be honest. Lask. I
They
think
got last
United.
on Thursday.
United.
We're going to get
on
onto that in a second. We're going to do the Europa League preview after this. Zach, have you got any words for us?
Absolutely no. It's just a training tournament for us to give some minutes to Gareth Bale to get fit again.
Any
That is it.
any lowdown on the Eastern European opposition you might be potentially facing this year?
Mate, I don't know what country they're from. I don't know what colour their kit is. I don't know anything about them.
Do you think Harry Winks will play all right away in Azerbaijan or what?
I hope he, enjoys himself.
What about Eric?
I remember from last season. I remember
Oh,
Yeah,
did
United
you?
played against them.
they have an artificial pitch and Paul Pogba scored a screamer.
Oh, what is wet?
Oh, I remember that game. Yeah, left footed, top in.
Top ins.
Are we home or away? I don't even know if we're home or away, so I don't know.
You got a tough group though. You got Ludogorets and Royal Antwerp.
We
as
don't
well.
have a tough group, let's be honest.
They should provide some serious competition for the White Army.
To be honest, if we lose, I don't even care. It's Europa League football.
As long as your players are getting doing the business in the Premier League, that's all that matters, isn't it?
That's all that matters.
And for my fantasy team, thank you, Harry Kane.
Right,
Just a
whose
quick thing
name
back
is that?
and I'm sorry, he's off topic slightly. Matt Doherty. What's going on there?
What's going on?
What's going on there?
He's played all right, and then Aurier just had a cracking game against United.
Well, anyone did, don't it?
Facing the team. I think the only reason Doherty didn't play against United is because he played the 2 games leading up to that during a busy schedule, so it was just squad rotation. I think if anything, he's brought the best out of Aurier in terms of he's made him play a lot better than he now has to fight for his position.
Aurier seems to have the raw materials to be a really good player, but he
doesn't have the brain.
I think Mourinho is an admirer of him in certain games, certain situations, that's for sure. He does like his attacking style. He's not a great defender.
If we're playing Spurs, I want Mane to be lining up against Aurier, not Doherty. Basically, simple as that.
There we are.
That's it. All right, that's the Champions League review. Then preview done for this week. Manip, let's move on to your team of the week.
Here we go.
Team of the week. So we went for this week. We went for 4-4-2. Edison in goals. Agree with that.
Nice.
I thought Pope had a good performance today, mine for Burnley. I don't know if you guys. I don't know if you guys paid the £14.95 to watch that game. But
unfortunately,
he made some good saves.
Yeah, there's a bit of justice the fact that I didn't get a chance to see the 2, but I think for me, Edison is a. And in the back, then right back, I had Carl Walker. I think he had a solid game.
I thought Wan-Bissaka.
One who are you just gonna say put the United team in now?
No, Wan-Bissaka had an outstanding game. He scored a great goal, but I mean,
I
Carl
thought
Walker
Harry
played well.
Maguire.
He did. I think Carl Walker. The fact that he was in centre, kind of in centre back as well. That was different.
He was good.
Pickford wasn't in contention for goalie, was he?
Of course not. I was waiting for that comment, but of course not. He wasn't. I think I had you can't for what I have. Let's not get into it. But
Yes,
let's just not get into it.
Liverpool fans are clearly mentally affected by
Virgil van Dijk. Fantastic saves.
Season-ending
He had some incredible saves. Would have been in contention, but you can't put him in for what
He's not in contention for anything.
No, it's just But yeah, so moving on. So then in centre back, I went for. I found that difficult this week, so I went for the newbies. So I had Ruben Diaz from City as well. Again, he's just very classy, dominant area threat.
I'm a big fan of his.
Yeah, so he just looks solid. So that was good, and I had Leicester as well. Fofana.
Fofana, nice.
Saw a few clips. Didn't get a chance to see the whole game, but from what I can saw, it was he seemed very classy. His passing looks incredible.
Yeah,
Pass him on the back.
he was
So yeah.
good.
And
Again from that game. Sorry, man. Ezri Konsa again. I'm sorry. Wow. He's brilliant, man. And Villa's whole defense, they're all English, and their defense is better than the England national team's defense. I don't get it. Matty Cash, a right back as well.
I'm a big fan of Douglas Luiz sitting in front of the back four as well. I think he's an outstanding talent.
Yeah. In some ways, I was about to put a lot of the Villa team, the defense actually in there this week, but I went for the newbies there. Left back could have been Saka, but I went for Robbo, Andy Robertson from Liverpool.
Nice.
I think first half, just everything was coming through him. He was just on form. I think he went a bit quiet second half, but I think that's just because of the nature of the game and how it panned out. But he was a complete threat. Him and Mane together as well as Salah collectively. So that's the back four. Then coming on to midfield, no qualms there. I'm sure we had Son on the wing, and in the middle I had Bruno, of course, and the second centre mid. I struggled on that, but in the end, last minute, I made a change and put on Thiago. Debate here, I'm sure. I'm sure there's a big debate here. Potentially, it could be a debate, but
Which is passed back. I don't think it's a debate.
Yeah, and I think throughout the whole game, it's the talent was just there. It was there was instances where you had Everton players all around him, and he was comfortably there.
Are you really putting him in just based on that one pass for that goal?
No,
I'm not.
What a beautiful player.
I will
not based on that one pass. I haven't said that.
What'd you say, Zach?
I think James Rodriguez was far better than Thiago this week.
Decore's an absolute monster. I'm sorry.
This is the issue with, and I'm not criticizing Liverpool fans in general, is that it was when when Naby Keita started for Liverpool his first game, and we had Jamie Redknapp saying, "Gary, it looks like Naby's been here. He's only been playing 8 minutes. He's been playing for 8 years." And I'm getting the same vibes of Thiago. I mean,
it's completely different.
No, it's different. I think it's different. I think what he's showing. And
the Naby stuff, fine.
He was imposing the game. He was actively looking for the ball, actively distributing it. He was controlling it.
Top two central midfielders in the.
Pardon? Say that again. I think he's dropped out.
I think we lost him there.
So
Højbjerg, as I mentioned last week, I think Højbjerg was in with a shout as well.
Yeah.
But never.
I mean, to be honest, that central mid, Bruno's obviously going to be there. But in this one, I had probably about 3-4 options, to be honest. I had
and I
Hendo
thought second half, Tomasuke done Højbjerg, mate. Tomasuke, a nice
Souček,
mate.
Yeah.
He's a new Fellaini.
Yeah. There's a few there. I think I went for obviously last week in the last podcast I didn't really kind of look at formation and trying to get a balanced team. I think this one I tried. Hence why
so far Son's had 2 appearances at defensive midfield.
No, I put him on the wing.
He's on the wing in a 4-4-2 this week, isn't he?
Yeah, you missed that. And then in the middle you got Bruno, Thiago, and then I had Rashford on the other side.
Rashford on the right, okay.
Yeah, Rashford on the other side, and up top, obviously no questions there. Timo Werner and Kane.
Nice.
Fair dues.
So yeah, this we went for a bit more of a balance, trying to fit the team around it, which isn't easy. But
nice.
Yeah.
Good. That's another fine team of the week, man. I don't think anyone can argue with that front line, certainly. Any other key moments, issues which stuck out for anybody on the weekend?
Just one I want to ask, and see what you guys think about it as well, was now, tell me if I've missed something here with the Aguero incident. Maybe I didn't see the whole clip because I only just saw when he just put his hand on the linesman. But what the whole problem was him putting his hands on the linesman, when I'm pretty sure plenty of times before footballers have put their hands on linesmen. Was it just because she was female, or like was he Was he doing anything to her? I don't understand.
Well, I know players have put hands on linesmen before, but there's a very patronising way that he did it, and I don't think he would have done that if that had been one of the other sort of male linesmen, like Darren Can, for example. I don't think he would have done that to him. Darren Can.
Who is that?
It's the guy you always line-owed with Howard Webb.
Of course.
Darren Can is probably the best linesman in the Premier League, in my opinion.
Oh,
Ash, you can give us your linesman 11 next week, mate.
But I don't. I think the manner in which to me felt like he wouldn't have done that to a male linesman.
Okay.
It felt a bit of malice, isn't it? Kind of just looking at the behaviour pattern when he was doing it. It just felt a bit of malice in there.
Yeah, I do feel though, if that was a male's linesman who he put his arm around, would anything have been made of it?
Yeah, I think so.
Really?
Probably not as big.
Well,
Really?
Players shouldn't be touching the officials. Full stop.
No. I'm not
No,
disputing that
100%.
fact.
Yeah.
But if it was a male official,
No.
Would it really have been blown out to what it is right now?
Of course not. I mean, it just looked wrong on the screen.
No, it looked wrong, and it was wrong. There's plenty about this. Nobody is. Even though nothing's been done at the moment, I won't be surprised. I don't know if there'll be some sort of.
That's the thing. I agree. It's wrong. He shouldn't put his hand on it. What I was asking is that, do you think there's actually are they going to ban him for something? Is there going to be retrospective action? Like,
no, I think they've already come out and said.
I think it's yeah.
Looked at, I think.
Well, they're okay. Yeah.
Again, it's probably dependent on what the lino herself, I think, had to say. If she probably brushed it off, then it's no big deal, really.
She controlled it well, really, in terms of how she handled it.
I mean, if she felt uncomfortable by it, then I'm pretty sure she would have said, which meant Aguero would be in a lot of, in a hot water of trouble in that case. But it seems like this one will just be brushed under the carpet and carry on.
Mm-hmm. You're saying Darren Can, but I think Sean Massey is actually quite good at, to be honest. She has been good.
Sean Massey, not Sean.
No, she's good. She's good. I think Darren Can's been the best for me in the Premier League. But Massey, she's great. She's great.
Who's Darren?
Do you think there's only? No, Darren Can. he's one of the best officials in the Premier League. I'm sure he was one of the linesmen who.
I just searched him. I can see his face now.
In the World Cup final.
Oh,
he's with Howard Webb. He was his team. I'm pretty sure he was part of his little group of 4.
Yeah,
Manchester United's referee association.
Absolutely.
If we going back to Van Dijk, how long is he expected?
Whoa.
It's a bit of a U-turn there.
Sorry,
because we're covering any of the business. I just feel like we haven't really discussed.
Muneeb's player of the season.
Yeah, has been taken out.
To be out for the whole. I read earlier that he might be in doubt for the Euros next summer.
Yeah, ACL.
I mean, usually it is a 6 to 9 month injury.
Talking about that as well. Oh, by the way, I've just put a picture of Darren Can on the group for any of you who didn't know what he looked like.
No, I know who he is. Yeah.
Okay. But with Memphis, when he had an ACL injury, he was back running after 2 months.
So you expect?
Is it actually his ACL or is it just?
He had an ACL.
It is. It's actually his ACL.
Van Dijk is definitely ACL. I don't know what Memphis.
Memphis had an ACL because they were saying he would be out. He was back running after 2 months.
Memphis just wanted time off to have another tattoo done on his back or something.
Van Dijk's got a grade 3 anterior cruciate ligament injury. I do suspect he'll probably be back quicker than the average time, just because of the caliber of player he is and the fact that he walked off the pitch.
That's what I was going to ask as well. Yeah.
So, are we expecting him back in time for the Christmas period?
Definitely not. I think the question is just whether he comes back for the Euros or not.
This is long term. They've said 7 months. Really, that's what's going on.
I mean, I'm really, really upset by that.
I can imagine.
It's an astronomical blow to Liverpool. Let's be
Thank you.
let's be fair.
Thanks, sir.
No condolences.
Disgusting.
Let's hope it doesn't happen
can't.
to any player. That's the
No, of
I
course
hope it
not.
doesn't
I
happen
mean,
to
I've had it
anyone.
myself. I wouldn't wish it on anyone.
yeah.
Even
I think
Darren can, mate.
Three of us have had it here, which is crazy.
You know, I wish him all the best. I really do. Let's just hope it doesn't happen to Mane or Salah. Yeah.
Astaghfirullah. What, are you okay, brother?
No, let's hope it doesn't happen to one of them.
Oh, okay.
Another action-packed week of football, boys. That's it. And then unless anyone's got anything else on their chest that they want to get off.
Can we just? How long's Van Dijk got? No,
On to more football, Champions League.
Liverpool fans are going to be concerned. And that's it. Non-stop, back-to-back. We got Champions League action back tomorrow. Plenty to look forward to. And then obviously, thankfully, we got Premier League weekend, football on the weekend back. No more internationals now, please. I think we've had enough of that now.
International next month, November, I'm sure.
There's another round of in November.
Oh dear.
There we go.
Suck the life out of football.
Another round of Grealish on the bench and Mason Mount starting. Oh,
Absolutely, yeah. Gary Southgate with his 8 defensive players, and Kane and Rashford up top. Yeah. Thank you very much, gentlemen. It's been another fine evening for our podcast. We shall hopefully reconvene again next week. Thank you very much, and thank you for listening to another
Cheers,
Hashtag
Good
Obsessed
night.
podcast.
I'll see you
Evening,
then.
lads.
See you
Bye.
later.
Bye.
Night.